Welcome back, everyone. It's Saturday morning again, and we are building the Back to the Future DeLorean. We are now on issue number 6. This is another front suspension piece, pretty much the same as what we did last week. So I think we'll get started. So we have our pack of pieces, and my past counterpart from last week did make sure that we have the screws that we need. We have a DP screw, we have CM screws, we have AM screws, we have DM screws, AP screws, EM screws, and BM screws. Step 1 of this is really just the same as last time. With that piece, and we got this piece, and we need a couple of AM screws. That goes like that, that goes over it. AM screws hold it together. I think we can do this. This was a little tricky last week, balancing it all together the right way. I'm pretty sure the solution was to do this. Get it started, grab the next one. It'll sit okay. Yeah, this is already going smoother than last time, but I think I tightened these up too much. So I'm just gonna back them out a little bit, because that's supposed to slide. There we go. I think we're good. Yeah, even better. Okay, now we got to put this spring holder on, and that gets installed with BM screws. Put the AMs back away. As we have learned, keeping all spares is important. You never know when you're going to need them. They're pretty good, and I'm sure that if I had called them and asked for a replacement screw on that, or if I hadn't, gotten one with this kit too, I would have gotten one, no problem. They have shipped the replacement spring kit to me. I haven't gotten it yet, but I got an email telling me that it's on the way. I actually had both called and emailed them originally about it, because I called and I elected to do the have them call me back thing, and it was a Sunday, and after that I looked at their hours and thought that they probably weren't going to call me back on a Sunday, so I put it in on an email, and about 20 minutes after I sent the email I got a call, and they were like, hey, let's take care of this. So then I got a response on the email saying, hey, I think we took care of this already, and I said, yeah, that's my bad. Okay, just gotta tighten these. And we're getting together already here. Doing good. It's pretty nice out today. We were supposed to get that tropical storm last night, and that really didn't materialize. We got a little bit of wind and a tiny bit of rain. After that, not much. So at this point, we take the coil spring, put it on here, get the whole thing through. And this was a bit of a pain last time, because you gotta make it all fit and compress and get a screw in. Because you really ought to be able to know how well you can see that. You ought to be able to get that through, because that's where the screw holds it. So what's everybody up to today? I guess if you're further south, you got some weather, but we really didn't. Now, this is held together with EM screw. Just got big pan head on it. I only need one of these, so I'm just going to get one out and keep the bag together. Squeeze it. Try to get this all lined up again. It's not so bad with my right hand, but I don't know how well I can get the screw in it with my left hand if I do that. Alright, that'll at least secure it for a second. Then I can really crank down. Go a little tighter with that. That's the stopping point. So, it's a pretty tough spring, still moves, good suspension. Probably more suspension than a toy car needs, but I guess this thing's actually going to end up pretty massive. This is all metal so far. Most of the pieces here, I think with the exception of the brake caliper in this kit, are metal. Now we need the longer CM screws, 2 of these. Put the little card back in. So I am shooting this with my new camera, trying to get the framing right. It's all a little different. It's got some cool autofocus stuff. If I bring this up, the camera's supposed to figure that out all on its own, so you can see it in good detail, instead of looking at my arms and tattoos and things. Just gonna very carefully pre-thread these. Just to get them started. Make it a little bit easier to line them up and secure it. This is such a close fit that having any of the screw protruding really at all keeps it from sliding over. But having the screws already there makes it quite a bit easier to keep this together. And I would definitely recommend if anybody is doing this themselves. My hands are not good. I think most people know that at this point. Ooh, I must have gotten a package. That was my Amazon spy device, making a noise, making an alarm, whatever, letting me know some notification has occurred, and 99% of the time it's because something arrived. I'm taking one back out, because I am having a problem here. I'm scratching the paint up. Just does not want to go together right now. Man, I'm really having a problem. Definitely scratching the paint. Try this. This is probably what I ended up doing last time, isn't it? I don't remember. Pre-cut some threads in this, because I'm not sure that all these holes that are drilled out are actually threaded. I kind of suspect they're not. It feels like these screws are cutting threads. Almost need to put a pin through this and then take it out to put the screw in. What else is new in the world? Coronavirus is still a thing. If you're watching this in the distant future, that was the time that everything was seriously screwed up because of a novel version of a sort of common virus, I guess. Causes some amount of common colds. But this one comes from some other animal population. I've heard different things from different people. I'm not a whale biologist, so I can't really tell you for sure. I know what I've read, recombinant from maybe both bats and pangolin, but I don't have the background in genetics to really analyze those kind of results. I know people who do, but I haven't talked to them about it. Okay. And these screws do like to chew up pretty easily, so you got to be a little careful. Otherwise, you chew them out, and it's tough to fix it later. I've got the tools if I really needed to back them out, which is good because I've just put this in backwards. So that's what I get for really paying attention. Well, after all of that, I put it together backwards. The C has to go in front because it holds the next piece on, which I realized I had a problem when I went to put that next piece on. I think I started correctly, and when I took it apart, I then put it back together wrong. I think that's what happened here. But now when the screws have been in once, it's actually much easier to put it together, because again, I'm pretty sure that it's cutting the threads as I go. Yeah, that one's getting chewed up. I'm going to switch to a bigger screwdriver here. Try to minimize that, because it's such a small screwdriver blade that what it does is it slips, even though it's officially the right size for these things, and it chews out the insides. And people tend to use smaller screwdrivers for things than they really ought to. Larger ones have a lot less likelihood of slipping, chewing things up. That worked way much better. I might just keep using this for anything that this fits on. Oh, that's a much better. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that out of the way for a minute. That's the screwdriver it comes with. It's tiny. It's such a tiny screwdriver. I don't know if you can even... There you go. And it's sort of magnetic, but not very. It's not the worst screwdriver. It's just not the best screwdriver. Okay, so now we got this piece. This was a pain last time. We need 2 DM screws. Again, all the screws we need seem to be here this time, thanks to my time-traveling associates. So if I put this the way it is in the picture, and I put this the way it is in the picture, it goes like that. So you can bend that piece up. Get these fit. I think I can tighten it a little bit more. Yeah, and that's supposed to swivel because that holds the wheel in place. That was a weird way to try to do that. It's also a much more magnetic screwdriver here, which makes it way easier to hold the screws on the end. This is my, I don't know if it's made by the same company that makes the screwdrivers for iFixit or if it's just a knockoff. But it basically matches an iFixit kit I also own, but doesn't have their logo on it. So I suspect they just buy from the same manufacturer, and this is, you know, generic brand. But it's a good kit. It works well. It's got a lot of various pieces in it. Some game screws for taking apart things like Nintendos. A couple of the odd security screws for iPhones and MacBooks and the various Samsung screws and things. Lots of different little pieces. So now we put this guy, which this is sort of how it looks assembled now. We got a spring, we got the wheel carrier. Put that aside for a moment because we have to secure this spring with what was last time the problem, a DP screw. Again, used to have 2 of these in this kit. Now I only have 1. So this spring-loaded bit goes on here. This goes through from the wheel side, and the screw holds it in place. I think that the intent of this is sort of like a spring-loaded latch, keeping the wheels folded up or folded down. It doesn't seem to be a super tight and effective latch. I don't know if there are other parts that are going to get attached to it down the bit, but it just springs. You can see it's just springy right here. It's got a little pin on it, and it kind of engages with this guy when it's all put together. Take the only other plastic bit. So this cylinder here is plastic. Obviously the spring is not plastic. Plastic springs exist but are not very good. And then this tiny little brake caliper is plastic. And that just fits on the wheel. There's 2 pins and 1 screw in the middle that hold it all together. Just kind of squeeze it on there and install it with an AP screw, of which, again, I give you a couple. And I am starting finally to develop, except for DP screws where I've used all of them again, a backlog of screws from the various kits in my spare parts bucket. So, short of things where they give me 2 total so far, and I've needed both of them, I actually have some spare parts which should limit at least screw-based issues in the future. So now we can put this all together and finish up this week's kit with 1 more DM screw. And in contrast to last week's instructions, this actually has an instruction telling you not to over-tighten this screw because the whole thing needs to pivot. I knew that it needed to pivot on the last one, so I didn't particularly tighten it, but it doesn't, normally doesn't tell you. So again, the magnet holds it in place, and I can't tell, see if you can see, when this folds down, I'll show you again when I've got the screw in it, that cylinder is right in here, and I think that is trying to sort of offer a backstop, there it is right there, in addition to the magnet for kind of keeping it in place here, so that you get past the magnet, you've got a little bit of bump of a resistance as it moves. But I don't know. I don't know, maybe it's just an aesthetic. They wanted to have a moving piece there to sort of represent the mechanism, or maybe it just wasn't as secure, so they put that in. Or maybe it's duplicating something on the vehicle, on the production, movie vehicle that I'm not familiar with. That you can see in some scenes, and I've just never noticed it. It could just be that they're going for a visual. But anyway, so when this folds down, that cylinder comes out of the way. When it folds up, it's in there. So it sort of acts as another latch mechanism beyond the spring. But anyway, that's it for that one. And it matches up more or less with last week's. It's just an opposite side. They're almost identical, mirror image. I'll put those in my parts box. And that's it for this week. If you have any comments, of course, leave comments. Or if you know me personally, you can, tell me I'm a jerk, whatever. It's fine. Everybody else does. And I hope you guys have a good week. It's the middle of summer, and it's, I don't know, maybe look it up. Have a good one.